Hi guys, so thank you so much for interviewing with us today. To start off, why don't the two of you introduce yourselves, let us know your name, your year, and maybe your major as well.
All right, I'll start. I'm Kris Prevo. I'm one of the co-presidents for Husky Gaming Nation here at UW. I'm actually going to be graduating in June, and I'm a neuroscience major as well. So it's been interesting balancing these two completely different worlds, but it's been a good time.
Yeah, and I'm Max Perkins. I'm a sophomore in environmental science at UW, and um, it's been great working with the esports program and the community recently.
Yeah, totally. Thank you guys. So the first question that we're going to dive in with is, tell us which RSO you are representing and just a little bit about your organization so we can, get to know these gaming communities a little bit more.
Sure. So I'm a part of Husky Gaming Nation, and our big pull is that we're a more social community centered gaming RSO on campus. Um, and so what we emphasize is like just being able to come together and build a community, meet new people, make new friends through gaming in general, whether that's video games or board games or any other kind of games. We always make sure that we have like a wide assortment whenever we would meet in person, especially. And since it's been online, obviously there's been more of a focus on like free games that you can play together through your browser, or like really popular games like Among Us, um, and all of that other kind of stuff. But primarily, what we emphasize is just being able to uh, meet new people, make a lot of great memories, and be able to uh, relax and just have a great time to take away from the stress that UW tends to pile upon you.
Yeah, and I represent WGA Smash. We host Smash Ultimate tournaments and get-togethers around campus once a week on Wednesdays, and we also do stuff on Thursdays. But recently, as we've gone online, uh, we've adapted to hosting online tournaments, and it's been kind of a struggle to get everything up and running, but we managed to move it from Wednesdays to Mondays, and we still have a stream and everything. So it's pretty cool that we've been able to continue providing this resource for students on campus into the pandemic. And once we get back on campus, we'll continue having the weeklies, and we also have a monthly that I run for not just for students, but also for non-students around the Seattle area. So it's been really cool to provide that for people.
Yeah, totally. And our second question is, how did both of you initially get involved with esports at UW or just gaming in general?
For me, I'll start. I believe freshman year it was the hub crawl. I believe it was called. We always have those events at the beginning of every year, and I went there to see all of these different gaming organizations, and I ended up gravitating towards HGN, and they were going to have like their first meeting that Friday. So since the very start of my UW career, I've been involved with Husky Gaming Nation primarily, and thanks to getting more involved with HGN and becoming an officer and then a president, it's been great to go out to all of these events and different things that the gaming communities put on. And it's really nice to be able to interact with all of the different kinds of gaming communities on campus. I know from a standpoint of like a more community social gaming club, we get to have, I guess we get to have like a more broad perspective on things. We get to interact with more people because we have more variety in terms of like what we can put on. And we've worked with like a bunch of other clubs in the past, primarily like the board game club, game dev club. We've done stuff with like Minecraft at UW as well. And I believe in the past, like we've talked about doing stuff with the Rocket League club as well. So it's been great to just get to know more people from these communities, and get to host more events and collaborate in that way. Because I think it's really good to let people know that like you can be involved with these communities and have a good time, whether you're like super competitive or not. Like even if you're more casual or just want to have a good time, you can still like you don't have to be like the most hardcore, like 100% dedicated gamer out there if you want to participate in these events. And it's I know that with the WGA Smash as well, HGN at least, especially when we're in person, we would always have Smash like every single time without a doubt because it's such a popular game. And so it's been really cool because I feel like there's a bit of a crossover between HGN and WGA Smash, especially because we've had people from WGA Smash come to our events if they just want to have a more relaxed casual time playing the game, get to meet new people. And also me personally and other people that I know, we've ended up going to tournaments and competitions that WGA Smash has put on as well, if we want to have more competition in that sense. So it's been really good, like all 4 years so far at UW. It's been really nice just to get to interact with all of these different communities and see this crossover that we do have.
Yeah, it was also great working with HGN to do the Esports Apple Cup last month. The community side of things, we were able to provide some cool events for Wazoo and UW students. But yeah, as for how I got into gaming and esports, before coming to UW, I would host like small Smash tournaments for Melee and Ultimate. I always played Melee more, but I also, Ultimate was the bigger game, so a lot more people were interested in that. So I did work for that for my high school and then my community center in my city. And then I also did a couple tournaments for Seattle University because I knew some people there. So coming to UW, I always envisioned me working with the existing organizations to bring my tournament there. And that's exactly what happened. I went to the weeklies and met the student leaders there and got to know them over time. And we eventually brought my monthly there, and it's been super successful. And I also got involved in WGA through the Smash weeklies, and our friend Justin brought me on to WGA to plan for Emerald City 9, which was going to be a big regional tournament as part of the Husky Expo we were going to have last year, but unfortunately it got canceled due to COVID, which was unfortunate.
All right, thank you both for your answers. Excuse me. The third question is, how did UW Esports and the gaming RSOs contribute to your overall Husky experience?
As for me, I can say that the gaming community at UW has really elevated my Husky experience a lot more than it would have been without it. Like I said, like I joined HGN and like got involved with these communities like my freshman year. So it's been like a core part for like my entire time at UW, whether it's been in person or online. Especially with becoming an officer, like when I was a sophomore and then becoming president, it's just increased even more so as time has gone on. But I can definitely say that because of the gaming community here at UW, I've met a lot of great friends that I've like been friends with all 4 years. And people I'm sure I'll be friends with like after I graduate as well. Like my current roommates are from people that I met through the gaming community. And I've made a lot of really good memories as well, that are going to stick with me for a long time. And so I think that without the gaming community at UW, and like the esports and like casual gaming RSOs, my time at UW would probably be a lot more uneventful, like a little more boring, not as exciting, because it's been really nice to have this outlet where you can go to and have these people with the same interests as you, same ideas, and just get to like be yourself, have fun, and unwind. And that's been like a really, really good part about being at UW, because there's so many people. You're bound to meet people that like have the same interests as you. And so, yeah, it's just really elevated my experience, more so than if it wasn't there. And it's helped keep me sane from all the schoolwork and everything else that UW throws at you. So I think it's just something that's really important. So I'm really glad that it's being fostered as time goes on.
Yeah, similar to Kris, I've met so many awesome people throughout, working with the Smash Club and all the other RSOs for gaming on campus. And like, I've met the people I'll be living with next year. Like, we're looking for apartments right now, and it's super exciting. And I just think it's like really cool to have this space for people to relax after a hard day of school, and just they don't have to think about it for those couple hours while they play games with their friends. It's so wholesome and great. And I've also learned a lot of cool skills working in esports for collegiate. Like, I know how to do graphic design and some marketing, video editing, and a lot of like tournament organization stuff, which is really cool for me to be able to build those skills in a controlled environment. And I just think like it's been super awesome to learn all these things in college before I go out into the real world. It's just been something to do, and I'll continue to do it until I graduate.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, so this next question is very relevant to our current situation. How have you been using the virtual space to continue building your own individual gaming communities, due to COVID-19?
For HGN at least, I think what we've been doing is really similar to a lot of other communities, which we've all gone to Discord. Discord has become like the central hub for a lot of our events and announcements. And we still use other stuff like Facebook and mailing newsletters to keep people in the know. But in terms of pivoting from in-person to online, there's definitely been a lot of changes, a lot of accommodations, especially for our club, since like our focus is on like community building and meeting new people in person. So at first we were a bit worried, like how would we be able to translate that to online? Since we don't have stuff like our $1 snacks that we'd always sell every Friday, and advertising is also another big thing we were worried about, because the Red Square RSO fair that would happen at the beginning of every year, it's like you couldn't do that in person anymore. But it's actually turned out to it's been working really well so far. I know that at the beginning of this school year, Minecraft did the Minecraft at UW Club did their own virtual fair that way, and we were able to be a part of that, and we like got a bunch of new people in through there as well. And then there's also Husky Link, which has been surprisingly effective. It's nice to know that people are going on there and actually looking at the RSOs that UW has to offer and deciding what they want to join. And then, like previously mentioned, different events like the Apple Cup that we did earlier in the year, that was also great, because one, it was just really fun, but two is that we also got to interact with a lot more people that way, and let people know about our club that way. And so I guess like it was a little slow at first. Like I feel like for a lot of people it's probably a bit rocky, like initially last spring translating from in-person to online, because you didn't get a whole lot of time to plan stuff out. But over time, we transitioned to focus on more free games and like popular games. So while that may have like limited the scope of games that we can play, it's also like made it more accessible to people. We've like Scribble.io is really popular. Among Us was super popular. And then as it's starting to, I feel like it's starting to burn out a little bit. So we're transitioning to other stuff as well. But we started streaming, so people can like interact with the officers more that way. And that way we can like show off games that maybe not everyone has. And then, so the combination of playing popular games that's a lot more accessible to people, and then streaming so people can have like a little bit of a community aspect that way has turned out to be, it's been really successful and it's been really nice, because as more people become aware and become a part of our Discord server, and we host events every single Friday, like same time as usual, they can see what we have to offer. They can vote for what games they want to play, which is a new thing that we didn't do previously. We would give people like a list, and then we would say like, all right, like react with the emojis that correspond to the games that you want to play. And so we've been able to meet a lot of great people. We've been like, Jackbox is also super popular. And so I think the core aspect of having a place where you can just relax and have fun has been able to like translate amazingly well online. And so switching over to Discord definitely came with its challenges, but it also came with its benefits, because I feel like now it's more open and people can see things ahead of time and, you know, decide if they have time to stop by each Friday. So it's been really beneficial in that sense.
Yeah, and in terms of Smash, we've been really lucky because we pretty much always used Discord even before the pandemic. So all of our people were already on there, and we already had a server where everybody was in. So we just basically transitioned to that. It took a long time because there was a lot of uncertainty as to how long the pandemic would last, like if we would be out of school for like more than a couple quarters. I remember in spring we thought it would only last a couple weeks, and we all thought like we'd be back to normal by the summer, but that didn't happen. So by like late summer, my friend Kyle, who has ran the weeklies in the past, he took it upon himself to start up a online series every Monday that it's free to enter, which is a difference from the in-person ones, which are $6. And so it's a lot more accessible to people who might not have wanted to pay every week to enter. So we've been getting pretty good numbers in the online tournaments. It's unfortunate that Smash Ultimate has such bad online mode, so it's a little scuffed, but you know, it's all in good fun, and there's no prize pool or anything, so nothing really on the line for people to get mad about. But one advantage of taking things online is that we were able to open it to the larger Pacific Northwest community instead of just the Seattle community. So we've been able to meet a lot of cool, pretty good players from like Oregon, British Columbia, Idaho, Eastern Washington. So it's been really cool to see how our players at UW stack up compared to everybody else. And we usually end up coming on top at the end, so that's pretty cool. But I would say that the main challenge with having things online is that it's like really easy to forget that you entered a Wi-Fi tournament, so people don't show up, and that's pretty frustrating from a tournament organizer perspective. So that's taken a toll on my motivation to run things, but Kyle seems to be pretty good about that kind of thing. But yeah, we'll just continue to be on Discord and host online tournaments with a stream until we can go back to normal. And, you know, I think it'll turn out okay.
Yeah, totally. I mean, transitioning completely to a virtual space is, you know, a lot. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of unexpected road bumps and challenges. So yeah, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. So our final question for today is, how do you see UW Esports impacting the gaming community at UW? You know, where do you think the program will take the gaming community to next? And where do you want to, you know, see the gaming community develop, I guess?
One thing that we've touched on is that as difficult as it can be at times to transition everything to a virtual space, is that it's also provided more opportunities that we may not have had in the past. Like the Apple Cup earlier, we got to work with WSU when that probably would have been more difficult to set up like in person, to have people collaborate in that sense. And like Max was saying with Smash, you know, you can open it up to a larger group of people. And so I think is that as difficult as it can be to be online, it also can make it more accessible for some people. And so I think a big thing that UW Esports can do is sort of, I guess, take advantage of the time that we find ourselves in. And if we can like create more awareness and let more people know about what we have going on with like these different Discord servers, these different communities that we have, all these events, we can bring in and incorporate a lot more people than we would have in person. And if we can bring these people in and then keep them, like have them stay, like when things slowly start going back to in person, I think that would be really good, because one, it's just a nice boost in the community to have more people, but also being able to like synthesize online and in-person events in the future would also be a really good idea. I know that for HGN at least, we've been thinking about it, because there could be some people that, you know, maybe they're not able to show up in person every time, like to our Friday events or any other events that we have going on. So trying to find a way to keep some of the virtual elements with Discord, like maybe we would have like certain games that we would still play online even as things start going back to in-person, in addition to having in-person events, could be a good way to balance it out. But I think taking advantage of the lower barrier of entry, I would put it, would be really good to push the program more going forward. And I think another thing is that there's a lot of, I feel like there might still be a lot of people that aren't entirely aware of all of the different gaming RSOs and programs and events that we have going on. And advertising is always like the big question about how you're able to effectively do that. But I know that there, in the past, and especially now online, since it's always a question of like how these different RSOs are able to transition to a virtual space. I know that at times it's like, oh, like this club is still doing stuff. That's great. Like I wasn't entirely aware of that. So being able to have a hub, I think, where everyone can go and see, oh, there are all these different communities going on. You know, they focus on these different things. They have these events at this time. And I guess sort of like a directory almost. It could be good, especially online, just to bring more awareness and to let more people know, like, hey, you know, we're doing all this stuff. Like, come join us. And I think UW Esports especially is in a really good position to do that. And the other thing that I kind of touched on earlier is that for some people at UW who might have a more casual interest in some of these games, like maybe they're like, oh yeah, I like Smash, or I like League of Legends or Rocket League or all this stuff, but you know, I'm not super competitive in it, or you know, I don't have a ton of time to play it. I think it's important to let them know it's like you can still totally like participate in this community that we have set up. Like you can come meet new people. It's like, you know, you don't have to be super dedicated in order to be a part of these spaces. You know, it's perfectly fine if you're more casual or relaxed or just want to have fun. And there's a lot of other like non-competitive, non-esports dedicated RSOs on campus, like HGN, like Game Dev Club, Minecraft at UW, Board Game Club, all of these different stuff. So there really is like a community for everyone. And as these communities are coming together in this online space, I think this is a really good time to just, you know, bring in more people and like keep these people in here and bring more awareness to this community that we've been building. Because I think a lot of people right now, for the past year, like quarantine can get pretty lonely at times. And so being able to reach out to these folks and like let them know what we have going on and that they can be a part of it I think will be a really good thing for UW Esports to do going forward.
Yeah, I've been pretty optimistic about how UW Esports has been bringing more attention to the RSOs around UW and generally just raising more awareness for people on campus who have not previously been involved. Like I see a lot of posts on the subreddit, like I play League of Legends or Valorant or Rocket League, like how can I get into the community? And then people in the comments like link them to UW Esports stuff. And it's really cool that this has become kind of a pipeline for people who are interested in gaming and competition and community to come together and meet like-minded people and have a good time. As for how to handle things moving forward, yeah, taking advantage of the online spaces we find ourselves in right now to work with other collegiate organizations and schools and different clubs and stuff for collaborative events could be cool. Stuff like the Apple Cup is always fun. We could do something like that every quarter. I don't know. And I would like to see more marketing directed at students to get them involved. And it's a lot easier to do that in person with like the RSO Fair and the Red Square advertising, stuff like that. But yeah, I think moving forward, UW Esports will be a big part in how we get the word out for these events and weeklies and monthlies and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you guys. And, you know, I've always thought that esports is, really the next big thing, and it really starts at collegiate. That is the pipeline into the esports industry and to really continue to expand it. But I also think that it's important for UW Esports and our program to pay homage to kind of our roots, because gaming is a universal hobby. A lot of people, they start gaming because maybe ever since they were a little kid because it's really fun. So kind of continuing to foster that community and, piquing interest in the general student body, letting them know that there are opportunities for them to participate in gaming and UW Esports where they don't have to be competitive is, important. So I agree with you guys. So that's a really nice insight. All right, so that is the end of our interview. I'd like to thank you guys again, Kris and Max, for being here today and really, taking the time out of your day to help us continue building our UW gaming community. So thank you.
Yeah, it's been really nice. I appreciate all the stuff that you guys are doing, and even if I'm going to be graduating soon, I'm optimistic about the future of gaming at UW.
All right, thank you so much.